Imagine buying a brand new car. You sign the papers, you hand over the cash, and you drive it home. It's yours. You wash it on weekends, you park it in your driveway, and for a whole year, it runs great. But then, one night, the dealership sends a mechanic to your house while you are sleeping. He doesn't steal the car. He doesn't break the windows. He just pops the hood, takes out the engine, and leaves a sticky note that says, "We are working on an update to improve your driving experience. Check back next year." Technically, you still own the car. It's sitting right there. You can sit in the driver's seat, you can turn the steering wheel, but without the engine, it's nothing but a 2-ton paperweight. You can't drive it. You can't use it for the purpose you bought it for. And if you go back to the car dealership and ask for your money back, they laugh and say, "Sorry, you already drove it off the lot. Transaction complete." This sounds wrong, right? It sounds like theft. If this happened with a physical product like a toaster or a fridge or a bicycle, you would be on the phone with the police or a lawyer within 5 minutes. But this is exactly, and I mean exactly, what has happened to thousands of PlayStation gamers with Fallout 4. If you're playing on PlayStation 4 or 5 right now, there is a very good chance that the DLC content you paid for, like the Nuka World, Far Harbor, Automatron, is currently being held hostage. You paid for it. You have the receipt in your email. But thanks to a disastrous cycle of updates from Bethesda, culminating in the recent December patch that fixed nothing, that content has effectively been revoked. It's gone. And not just gone in the sense that you can't buy it anymore. It's gone in the sense that the files on your hard drive have been rendered useless by the people who sold them to you. And here's an even bigger and scarier issue. This is a terrifying preview of the future of digital gaming. A future where ownership is a myth, and your access to the things you paid for hangs by a thread, waiting for a single mandatory server-side update to snap it. Today, we are going to do a deep dive into the update disaster that broke Fallout 4 on PlayStation. We are going to diagnose exactly how Bethesda managed to break DLC access again. We are going to walk through the nightmare loop of Sony's refund policy that makes this a perfect trap. And we are going to talk about why, legally speaking, you might own absolutely nothing in your library. Welcome to Game Overdrive. Let's talk about the theft of Fallout 4 to understand why this feels like a robbery, and not just a technical glitch. We have to look at the timeline, because the most insulting part of this entire situation isn't that the game is broken. It is that Bethesda told us they fixed it. They sold us on a solution and delivered a brick. Let's rewind the clock to November 2025, the 10-year anniversary of Fallout 4. It was marketed as a victory lap. We were promised the anniversary update, a patch that was supposed to finally iron out the lingering issues from the next-gen era, add some commemorative Creation Club content, and stabilize the game for the next decade. It was the reason many of you reinstalled the game. It was the reason Fallout 4 shot back up the sales charts during the holiday sale. But instead of a birthday party, we got a funeral. The November update introduced deep structural instability to the file system. We started seeing reports of phantom crashes immediately. But Bethesda told us to wait. They promised that the follow-up maintenance patch in December would be the cleanup patch. They promised it would stabilize the new anniversary content. And then December came. The December update was sold to us as a simple hotfix. It was supposed to be boring. General stability fixes for anniversary content. That's what the patch notes said. I covered this in a video in December, back when the patch happened. But for a massive chunk of the PlayStation player base, the patch didn't make things better. So here we are now, in the second week of January, and here is the specific issue that is driving players insane right now. Walk through this with me. You boot up your PlayStation console, you check your library. The console confirms clearly that you own the Season Pass. Because you do. It says installed next to Far Harbor. It says installed next to Nuka World. But when you load the game itself, the content simply isn't there. It's the phantom DLC bug. The PlayStation Store says installed. The console storage says installed. But the Fallout 4 application acts like you are a free-to-play user who only owns the base game. It doesn't see the files, and because the game doesn't see the files, if you try to load a save that relies on that content, which, let's be honest, is basically any save file from the last 10 years of playing, the game panics. It either crashes to the dashboard immediately, or it loads you into a void, stripping you of your armor, your weapons, your quest progress, and leaving you naked in Sanctuary Hills. Bethesda's response to this catastrophe? Silence. Absolute radio silence, followed by a vague admission that they are investigating the reports. Reports indicate we might not see a fix until mid-January or later. That is a full month of downtime for a product you have already paid for. Think about that for a second. Really let that sink in. If Netflix went down for a month, they would issue refunds or credit your account. If your internet went out for a month, you wouldn't pay the bill. If you bought a movie ticket and the projector broke halfway through, the theater would give you a pass for another show. But in the gaming industry, in the Bethesda ecosystem, they break the product, revoke your access, and tell you to wait. They hold your money, and they hold the product, and you are left with nothing. This is where the incompetence versus malice debate ends for me. Incompetence is breaking a texture on a wall. Incompetence is a quest NPC getting stuck in a door. And to be clear, Bethesda is for sure guilty of that too. But malice, or at least negligent indifference, is releasing a celebration update that bricks the game and then leaving your paying customers locked out of their purchase for weeks because you can't be bothered to hotfix a licensing bug before going on holiday break. Now, a logical person might be thinking, okay, if the product is broken, I will just get a refund. I'll take my money back and go buy something else. And this is where the nightmare truly begins. This is what I call the Sony trap. If you bought Fallout 4 or the Season Pass recently, maybe you got hyped by the 10th anniversary marketing and decided to jump back in. You put down your $20, $30, or $40. You downloaded the game, you launched it, you realized the DLC was missing or broken. Naturally, you go to PlayStation support. You open the chat window, you wait in the queue, and you tell the agent, hey, I bought this thing, but it doesn't work. The developer broke it with a patch. And Sony points to their policy. It is a policy designed to protect them, not you. The policy states that you have 14 days to request a refund, unless you have started to download or stream the content. Once that download bar starts moving, your right to a refund evaporates, unless the content is proven to be faulty. Aha, you say. It is faulty. That is the whole point. It literally does not load. But here's the catch-22 that traps you. Sony's definition of faulty is incredibly strict. It doesn't mean buggy. It doesn't mean crashes sometimes. Usually, unless the publisher, in this case Bethesda, issues an official recall or a specific public statement declaring the product defective and authorizing refunds, the Sony support agent will deny your request. They will say, the game launches, therefore it's not faulty. They will tell you to contact the publisher for technical support. So you do what they say. You go to Bethesda support. You open a ticket. And what do they say? We cannot process refunds for PlayStation purchases. We do not have access to your transaction history. Please contact Sony. Do you see the loop? You are trapped in a bureaucratic pinball machine. Bethesda broke the game, but they can't refund you because they don't hold your wallet. Sony holds your wallet, but they won't refund you because they claim the download constituted delivery of the product, regardless of whether that product actually works. This is a regulatory black hole. You've paid for a license. The license is currently failing to execute. But because the files physically exist on your SSD, Sony considers the transaction complete. They delivered the bytes. Whether those bytes actually do anything is apparently not their problem. It brings up a horrifying realization about digital consoles. You're not a customer, you're a user. And if you thought that those two are the same, they're not. A customer has rights, a user has a license agreement. And that agreement essentially says, we promise to let you play this, unless we mess up or unless we change our minds, in which case, sorry. If you look at the Reddit threads and Discord channels right now, you see thousands of players trying to play IT specialist. They are desperate. They are trying every voodoo trick in the book to get their Nuka world to load. I've seen people recommending uninstalling and reinstalling the entire game. I've seen people saying, you need to restore licenses in the PS5 system menu. I've seen guides on how to rebuild the database in safe mode, or suggesting you download the DLC from the mobile app instead of the console to trick the system. And for the vast majority of people affected by the December patch bug, none of this works. Why? Because this isn't a corrupted download issue on your end. This isn't a case of a file getting scrambled during the download. This appears to be a fundamental registry issue on their end. The way Fallout 4 handles DLC on PlayStation has always been spaghetti code. But the anniversary update complicated this by introducing new Creation Club dependencies. The game essentially has to verify two different lists of content now, the classic DLC and the anniversary content. When Bethesda patched the game in December to fix the anniversary content, they likely tweaked how the executable checks for installed entitlements. They were probably trying to fix the crashes associated with the new anniversary skins. But in doing so, they severed the handshake for the legacy DLC content. Imagine a bouncer at a club. Before the update, the bouncer had a list of names. If your name was on the list, if you owned Nuka World, he let you in. The December patch essentially fired the old bouncer and hired a new one to handle the VIP anniversary guests. But they forgot to give the new guy the list for the regular members. So when you restore licenses on your PS4 or PS5, the console shouts, "Hey, this guy is on the list." But the new bouncer inside the game code just shrugs and says, "Sorry, I only have the anniversary list. Access denied." This is why common fixes are failing. You cannot fix a broken line of code in the executable by reinstalling the assets. The assets are fine. The textures are fine. The audio files are fine. The key that unlocks them is broken. And who holds the key? Ding ding ding, you guessed it. It's Bethesda. And they are currently out of the office, metaphorically speaking, leaving you to stare at a content missing screen on a game you spent $60 to $100 on. This brings us to the big question. The question I see in my comment section every day, written by rightfully frustrated gamers: how is this legal? How can they take away something I paid for? I am not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice. But if we look at the reality of consumer law versus digital reality, the answer is terrifying. In the European Union, consumer protection laws are actually trying to fight this. There are right to repair and digital goods directives that technically require digital goods to be functional for a reasonable period. If a patch breaks a game in the EU, you have a much stronger argument for a forced refund, because the law recognizes that a broken update effectively breaks the original contract of sale. But in the US, it's the Wild West. When you buy a game digitally, you are not buying a game. You need to understand this. You're not paying to become an owner of the product. You are buying a revocable, non-transferable license to access software. Read the terms of service for PlayStation or Bethesda. They almost always include clauses that protect them from temporary interruptions, server maintenance, or service modifications. If you tried to sue them, their lawyers would likely argue that the game is still accessible. Look, they would say, the user can boot to the main menu. The product is functional. They would argue that the DLC outage is a temporary technical issue, not a removal of the product. This legal gray area is what saves them. As long as they say, "We are working on a fix," they are technically still supporting the product. It doesn't matter if the fix takes a week, a month, or a year. As long as they don't say, "We are deleting this forever," they can keep your money in limbo indefinitely. This isn't the first time we've seen this. We saw it with Ubisoft's The Crew, where they shut down the servers. And so the game, which people paid full price for, simply ceased to exist. We saw it with PT, erased from history. We see it every time a licensing agreement expires and the game gets delisted. But this Fallout situation is unique because the game isn't old, it isn't dead. It's currently being sold on the front page of the store as the Anniversary Edition. They are actively marketing and taking money for a product they know is broken. Let's step away from the legal definitions and look at the moral reality. If you buy a toaster and the manufacturer breaks into your house and cuts the cord, that is vandalism. If you buy a movie on Blu-ray and the studio comes to your house and scratches the disc, That is property damage. If you bought a book on your Kindle and Amazon remotely deleted the last 3 chapters, that would be a scandal. But when Bethesda pushes a mandatory update, an update you cannot refuse if you want to play online or keep your console connected, and that update disables your DLC, that is somehow business as usual. That is just gaming in 2026. We need to stop accepting this. The Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition exposed the fact that we have virtually zero control over our own libraries. We are renting our childhoods. We are leasing our hobbies. And the landlords are terrible at maintenance. So, where does this leave us? If you are a PlayStation player waiting for Fallout 4 to be fixed, I have bad news. You are in for a wait. Bethesda has signaled that the next patch won't be here immediately. I mean, it's not like their promise would be a ironclad guarantee, far from it. But this time, they didn't even bother with giving a timeline. And given their track record with the anniversary rollout, there is zero guarantee that the next patch won't break something else. Maybe next time it will be your save files. Maybe it will be the audio. Maybe it'll work only in Japanese. Maybe the game simply won't launch at all. We are stuck in a loop where we pay for content, the developer breaks it, the platform refuses to refund it, and we are told to be grateful for the free updates that ruin the experience. My advice? Stop updating if you can. Turn off auto updates. If you have a working version of the game, protect it with your life. Because in 2026, the biggest threat to your gaming library isn't hackers. It isn't disk rot. It isn't hardware failure. The biggest threat to your games is the people who made them. If you are tired of Bethesda breaking Fallout and you want to play an RPG that actually respects your time, respects your wallet, and most importantly, actually works when you press play, check out the video I'll be posting this weekend. I break down the best alternatives to Fallout 4 that run perfectly on PlayStation right now. I know that Fallout does have a certain escapism appeal that's not easy to find elsewhere, but the games I'll cover deliver the experience Fallout promises without having to wonder if your DLC will vanish tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and don't let them gaslight you. You paid for it. It should work. Period.